The timber frame entranceway is just about wrapped up. I'm really excited about it. It's really turning out amazing. And that's only the tip of the iceberg for this week. I also managed to get in all the rough-in boxes for all the lighting for the entire house. That's finished. The protector plates and the staples for the Romex, that's all done. And all the venting for the backside of the fireplace insert is put in. Well, below the roof deck. We'll puncture the roof probably this coming week. But yeah, it's been a really good week. So details on my ridge beam are a little quirky than you would normally find. Now I wanted to reuse this old board here. This used to be a floor joist over in the what is now the back bedroom. And when that all got demoed out, I was able to save some of the lumber, and this is one of the pieces. So to sort of help pay homage to the original craftsman and to this house, I want to reuse this piece. But the tricky bit about reusing this is that one side of it is milled, the top, what I'm going to use is the top, and the bottom side is hand hewed. So it makes its thicknesses a lot different throughout the board. Well, I want to use the milled side as my reference point, and I needed to create a nice parallel surface to create my ridge post or ridge riser. And I couldn't cut this until I knew this dimension, because you have to calculate your height above the plate in order to get this final dimension. And we won't get into all that. But anyway, what I did is I created this at 7.5 inches. So I cut this out and then cut this in. And then I put the same scroll detail here that I have on the ends of the posts. So that all makes it nice and matchy-matchy. And yeah, so now I think we're ready to install this thing, which is pretty exciting. And we have a couple rafters cut already, so that's good. So let's get to this. Let's go install this. So it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday. I haven't eaten lunch yet, and it just started raining, so I guess it's lunchtime. But this beam needs to be stained, so maybe it's staining time? And then lunchtime? There's just so much to do. 130-year-old lumber. Sure does soak up the stain. Due to the rain, I am not allowed, or I'm not able to be outside doing what I want to do. So I decided might as well come in and do some items that, well, are much easier when the sheetrock is not here. Wouldn't it make more sense if that flange was on the bottom side? Like that? So I just consulted with the instructions, and what that says, pull this screw out, pull this connector off, and this whole face should slide right off. And then you're just working with a box. So that should be pretty slick. Let's give it a go, see what happens. Shh, don't tell anyone I consulted the instructions. No, I really couldn't care less. There's no way they know everything. All right, this connector off. That came off easily. Let's give it. Oh, would you look at that? One screw and a connector. All right. Set that there. Set the screw somewhere. Well, I'll be sure to lose it. And let's get this thing up there. Okay. Would you look at that? They even create a little lip for this to slide into, so you can hold it with one hand. Well, that's nice. Too bad I didn't bring the screws up with me. What do I do with those? Well. Alright, Alright, so now I just need to prep this wire to connect to this, and we'll be all set. Boom, 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 boom. Should have flipped that when I had two hands available. Take a little trip with me. Take a little trip, take a little trip, take a little trip with me. All right, get those taped up. Okay, now get the cover on. Okay, how did this go? Like this. Well, that is way easier when there's no sheetrock. Way easier. Good morning, it's Tuesday. Yesterday, I tried to get this ridge beam installed and it just wasn't gonna happen. A couple of things going on. One is that it is all rough cut lumber and there's always obstacles to overcome when it comes to that. And I've learned that it's worth, especially on a ridge, to go ahead and overcome those obstacles. It just makes the rest of the install so much easier. And I started cutting some of the rafters, and I didn't want to do all of them again because it's all rough cut and there's always wonkiness dealing with rough cut. And yeah, in order to make it look right, you've got to spend the time in the forefront, and it'll just make the rest of the install again easier. So I have a couple of components ready to go. I have a little bit of refining to do, and I'll get that done. But it's gonna rain all day again today, and that's really the other reason why the ridge didn't get installed yesterday, is it just started pouring. So it's not worth it. There's so many other things to do, and yeah. So I'll just have the back burner the ridge, or the the entranceway for now, and get back to sheetrock prep. Still waiting on a schedule for that. So we have another bathroom fan to do, the nail off plates, some wire staples, you know, the miscellaneous little task things. Well, as much as I just want to curl up in a ball and enjoy a hot cup of coffee and watch the rain fall, I just, there's no room. Gotta do it. No rest for the wicked. Why do they say that? Rest for the wicked. No rest for the weary. No rest for the motivated. I don't know. There's just no rest. Goodness. Good morning. It's Tuesday, and we're going to be working on the inside today. And that's because, well, it's rainy and gloomy and kind of chilly, and I don't have any need to get wet and cold. And now I have the luxury of managing when I'm outside and when I'm not outside, because sheetrock came by yesterday and told me in person the bad news. They're not able to get here until the end of October. So, what does that mean? Obviously, the finish date for Frankie's gonna get pushed out. Possibly. I mean, what I can do is, there's a lot of stuff outside still needs to be done, so I can manage exactly the days I want to be outside versus inside. And that's a bit of a luxury, honestly. Normally you're kind of just forced to be inside, like we have been all summer trying to get ready for sheetrock, and then go outside whenever the weather's bad because there's nothing to do inside. So I think there's enough miscellaneous things to do inside that we can manage, providing we don't have a ton of bad weather. There's that. So, in one aspect it's good, and another aspect it's not so good. So for today, what we're going to do is staple off all these wires, because that's what my electrical inspector wanted me to do. Within 6 inches of any wire or any box, we have to have them stapled off and put in the rest of protector plates. So we'll start there today, and then we'll probably get into the venting for the gas, or the gas insert fireplace. Let's do a new section called Christmas on the Job Site. So here I have a whole bunch of boxes that contain all the components that we need to do a venting system for that fireplace insert. And I've never installed one of these either. So let's give this a go, shall we? And in full disclosure, I called up, what was the name of that place? Hold on a second. Well, I called an online, chimney supply house, told them exactly what I was doing, and gave them all the measurements, and they just walked me through all the different components. It was really helpful. I'm gonna have to look up that name for you. There's stuff in here, I swear. Like I said, Christmas. All right. Well, that looks like a... Well, it says storm collar on it. Oh. I bet you that goes over on the outside, and then the roof flashing comes up to it. That'd be my guess. We'll have a look at that. This must be the ceiling fire stop. So that'll go up against the ceiling. Got a couple clamps with hardware. So how am I going to organize this? So I'm one of those people, when I have a kit of some sort, even like Legos, I will line everything up by its size and organize it all. That way I can just find it. Like when I did the plumbing, I didn't show that, but in the basement, I had everything laid out on the floor with all the different elbows and sweeps and everything. Yeah, you understand. So maybe over here. So you can see inside here, this will be the exhaust side of the fireplace. And then the inside here, or outside, the outside will be the fresh air intake. So it'll be one pipe doing both jobs. And I'll show you how that works here in a minute. There's our roof flashing. You can see the pitch for it, something like that. This is a high wind cap. So it'll be able to not have the wind rip the ability to draft. That's what I'm looking for. I heat my home with a wood stove in the wintertime, solely with a wood stove. And a cap like this is a game changer for that scenario. We used to have just a real basic cap. Whenever the wind would blow wicked hard, the wind would actually blow the exhaust back into the house and would fill the wood stove and put the fire out and push the smoke into the house. So putting a cap on like this absolutely changed that. Lighting the fire first in the morning made it super easy. So that's why we do one of these. That, and you just don't want the rain, falling down inside there. Too many home inspections have I done and not seen a cap on things. So every morning, my wife packs my lunch, and she sends me with little treats. And today is the mark of my favorite time of year because I get fresh apple cider and fresh apple cider donut. Oh, it's my favorite. We get to go to an orchard every year, pick our own apples, get the cider, get the donuts. It's a good time. Good ones? Well, that was interesting. So, a reporter from NPR or NCPR, I'm not sure, just stopped by and interviewed me about this project and my thought process on the housing stock and the issues that we see in this area. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that article turns out. I'll let you know. Anywho, we should get to work. As you can see, I finished putting the rafters up yesterday, and I think today I may be able to get this thing decked. Maybe. We'll see. The joys of rough cut lumber. So this plank here is a little over 12 inches wide and doesn't match up. So I'm gonna have to trim this out in order to get the next layer to land in here. Otherwise I'll have a big gap here, and that is not acceptable. So you may be asking yourself, Sean, why are you putting plywood on top of all those rough cut planks? And I have a very simple answer for that. I have done this before, and when you do the exposed plank like I'm doing here, the plank itself is only 1 inch thick. Now, when I go to put the roofing shingles on, well, on this, then I'm gonna be shooting it on with 1.25 inch nails. So if I have 1/2 inch ply on top of the 1 inch plank, like so, then this distance will be 1.5 inches instead of 1.25 inches. So when I shoot the nails in, you know, they stop about there. So I'm very particular about my exposed framing. I don't want to see any hardware, and I mean any hardware anywhere. So if nails are poking out the back end, then I'll see them, and it looks unprofessional at the very least. So that's why I'm putting this on, just to fill that gap so I can shoot it on with an actual regular framing gun. Because otherwise you have to nail it on every stud. And in order to do that, you end up having to cut your shingles to different lengths constantly. And it's a ton of waste, and it takes a ton of time. So the extra time it takes to put some scrap on there, because that's all I'm using are cutoffs, stuff I have laying around the job. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to fill that gap and serve its purpose. Well, here she is, all wrapped up and ready for the weekend. Now next week I'll get up here and I will get this all shingled off, and then we're gonna stay outside all week. Unlike this past week, you know, the rain forced me inside. This coming up, it looks beautiful. Cold mornings, beautiful afternoons, and I should be able to stay outside and be a carpenter all week. Well, thank you so much for stopping by High Peaks Home. Oh, and if you're looking for tips and tricks and things, check out my shorts. I've been really punching out a bunch of those lately. All right, see ya.